5 times no, hey, thanks. If you are told 5 times in a row the word no, it's going to feel really bad. You're not going to feel good. And guess what's going to happen? The next time someone answers, you might start expecting that no. Next thing you know, we start creating the results for us instead of allowing the script to do it, which is very common, guys. We're human beings. It happens, right? I think that's why conference talked about mindfulness so much, because it's really important for us not to allow those no's to sit on our conscious as we're dialing. It will bring your other phone calls down, I promise you. So you gotta understanding those contacts tells you, hey, you know what? This is part of the I call it the battle of the beast. That's what I call it. This is part of the battle of the beast. I'm calling B5s. I've only had 9 people tell me no. I got another 6 to go before I expect an appointment. And guess what? How cool does it feel to know that it takes 15 contacts to get an appointment and you get one after 5? Hey, what about if you get 2 before 15, right? Like I said, the more you do it, the better you get, right? So that's what I'm talking about. When it comes to getting your highest ROI, guys, your B5s are the way to go. Now, I'm not saying only work B5s because, like I said, I suggest that for someone new to build a callus. And remember what I said, for every 100 lead or $100 invested, that equals $1,000 commission. Or as the new one is $500 versus $2,000 commission, right? Like times are changing now, right? So if you know that, imagine how much 100 B5 leads would cost you. So the lowest contract level, they're $1.67, I believe, right? Divided by 100. I'm gonna have this right here. So let's see what I'm doing here. What are we getting? You're getting 59, almost 60 leads if you purchase 100 B5s. 60
Right
leads.
now, right now they're 50% off.
Oh, that's right. They are until September 1st. I love
Yeah,
it, April. God, you're so fantastic. It's true. Right now they're half off, which means you get to make a lot more on those ROIs.
like
All right.
80.
And I know B5s aren't everyone's favorite. Again, I talk about new agents. Like you can work up and do the other ones. Once you get really good on the phone calls, these ratios get better for you, right? But assuming on a regular level, that's 60 leads. I have to ask you, based on what you're buying, what would 60 leads do for you when dialing? Here's my next question. Would you work them properly to get the high contact ratio that you're supposed to get? Now, obviously, if you purchase 60 leads, not all 60 of them are going to answer, right? We all know that. Let's be real here. But what if I told you that there is an absolute way that you should be getting 60 to 80% of those to answer? And if you are not getting a 60 to 80% contact ratio, that's what it's called. If you're not getting that, then my next question to you is, are you dialing it properly to achieve those results? Okay. Now, if you don't know whether you're hitting that, then we got to talk about statistics and tracking them because then I can't help you, right? Make sure you track your stuff, know what you're hitting, see how we can improve to improve those numbers. So, how do you hit those people? How do you get the 60 to 80% contact ratio? Let's talk about it. I don't care if you get 60 leads, though I think it's wonderful. That's what $100 equates to on B5s without the half off. Okay. But if you're not dialing them properly, then 60 to 80% of them are not going to answer. Okay. So what you need to do is you need to figure out however many you're able to dial within a day twice. You got to dial them twice a day. You can switch a phone number doing it. We'll talk about that next. Okay. You got to dial them twice a day. And I'm going to take that a step further. Not only do you have to dial them twice a day, I'll even do 3 times a day. I think that's phenomenal if you can. But not only do you have to dial them twice a day, but you have to do it at least 5 to 7 consecutive days in a row. I'll give you weekends. Fine. Take weekends off. Okay. But it's got to be back to back to back. Like it's got to be every day. You cannot dial a number this morning and later today and then not dial that same lead for another week and expect to get a 60 to 80% contact ratio. It's not how it works. Okay. There is something very powerful about calling them consecutively every day, twice a day, that gets the ones that normally wouldn't answer to answer. Like it's a whole purpose to this. There's a whole strategy to it, I promise. And if you do that, more people will answer. And if more people will answer, you'll get more eyes. But that also means you'll get more appointments too. So be prepared for both. All right. Be prepared for both, right? If you want more appointments, you got to get more eyes. That's just the way it works. All right. So that is how you get a higher contact ratio. If you are not doing those things, if you are not dialing twice a day and you're not calling them 5 to 7 days in a row, and you're not switching out your phone numbers every 2 weeks, write that one down. Switch out those phone numbers, guys. Okay. Trust me. Oh, the more that you dial out for them, the TCPA likes to, you know, they'll mark it as spam. You guys know that as well as I do. They'll stop popping up. All of a sudden you'll start dialing and you go, man, no one's answering my phone calls. What's going on? Well, you realize you've been dialing from the same phone number for the last month. That might be why. Change it up, see what happens. Okay. So if you're not doing those things, that absolutely will affect your contact ratio. Okay. If you are doing those things and you're still not getting a 60 to 80% contact ratio, add in the triple dial. Let me not forget that. Let's add in that triple dial. That's another thing. You got a triple dial. Okay. Triple dial is super huge. If you don't know what that is, that's calling a lead. You let it ring 3 to 4 times. They don't answer. You hang up. You'd call them right back 3 to 4 times, rings. Hang up. They don't answer. Hang up. You call them right back and let it go all the way to voicemail. That's a triple dial, right? If you're not working those leads properly with those 4 things, then you're not, chances are you're not hitting that 60 to 80% contact ratio you need to get the results that we're talking about. Remember, it's a numbers game. This whole business is a numbers game. Okay. So Ben Miller always talks about it. He talks about when he first started here. And let me tell you how much of a numbers game this is. Every single person on here, there's something you're working on, right? Maybe it's how many appointments you make. Maybe you make all the appointments in the world and they don't show. So you're working on your show factor. Maybe, and I know Kevin and I discussed this at conference actually, that there's a system to it, right? It's how many leads you buy, how many dials, how many contacts. Like every time you master one, you got to master the next step. There's a whole system to it, right? So maybe you get people showing and you're still learning how to sell. Your close ratio is not as high, right? Maybe you're selling and you're still working on your resend rate, right? So there's different things that you could be working on, which is really cool. When you break it down, you know exactly what to focus on. That's the cool thing about following our system here in your uplines. So back to that, Ben Miller, when he first started here, he was great on the phone. That's what him and I did for 15 years it's been now. So like that, he knew how to book appointments left and right. That wasn't the problem. His problem was he couldn't close them. I mean, couldn't close a door, poor guy. Right. So his close ratio was like 30%, which guys, national average, I think is like 67. That's national average, which means there are people that are higher average. Okay. But he was doing like 30%, but guess what? He still had to pay bills. So what he did was, because he knew he could book the appointments and because he knew he can get them to show, all he did was double the amount of appointments he booked, knowing that he only could close 30% of them. Right. So when he doubled it, that brought it up to 60%. And that's how he was able to learn, one, see the amount of people he needed to see to make the money he needed to make. And two, that's also how he was able to get better. The more people you sit in front of, the more people you talk to, the more people you have show, those are all things that are going to get you better at each step from the beginning to the end of a lead life. Okay. From the moment you purchase them to the day that you close them and you get a client for life. Okay. So again, this is a numbers game. There should never be a person that says, man, I can't sell no matter who I sit in front of more people. Man, I can't get anybody to show to an appointment, make more appointments. Right? I can't get people to answer. Let's start changing up things and find out why. I want you talking to more people. Okay. Abigail, I love your question. Best time to dial. First and foremost, I think every time is a great time to dial. So you'll hear me say that forever. If you got spare time and you ain't got nothing to do, dial. Okay. But if you're looking for set prime times, which is what we call it, we call them prime times. Your best prime time, hands down, is between 4 and 8 p.m. at night, Monday through Friday. morning time 9 to like 2 or 3 on Saturday. Okay. If you do Sunday, anytime after 11 o'clock is great on Sunday too. But Monday through Friday, prime time is between 4 and 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, even if you want to do the extra hour legally, you can. Okay. But again, I'm one of those people that if you have the free time to do it, there is always someone that's available during the morning time or during the afternoon time. And they might be sitting your leads, and that's why you didn't get a hold of them, is because you only call them at night. So I'm one of those people that says, hey, if you can dial, your best time to dial is then. I'm very busy. And so for me, when I do dial, I will dial between 4 and 8 o'clock, and I'll dial them twice. I'll dial them starting at 4. And as soon as I go through that list, I will go right back up and start all over again to make sure I hit my leads twice in one day. And I will knock out and get a high contact ratio between that time period because I called them twice, switching out my phone number between the two. Okay. Great question. People ask that question all the time, and it's an awesome one. Don't hesitate. Throw them in the chat. I love chatting about it. Okay. So now back to the ratios. Let's see where I'm at here. Do work now. Yes. One of the things I put on here, and this is for the newer folks, guys, when I mention those B5s to the newer agents, because I know that one, again, that's the best ones that you'll learn from, right? And two, you will get the highest ROI from it, right? When I do mention that to agents, I let them know, you'll hear your upline say this a lot. One of them is do work now to make it to the other leads. So it's like you're going to do the most dialing you're ever going to do in the beginning of your career with us. Right? Like I said, you got to learn. That's the only way you're going to learn, and you're going to get better. As you continue getting better, you'll be able to hit or achieve your goals a lot quicker, because you'll start making that ROI from the B5s and the B4, which is the largest amount of money coming in based on what you paid for leads. And then you get to start purchasing the less expensive leads and going up and up. Next thing you know, it doesn't take you 8 hours to hit 10 to 15 appointments. It may only take you 4. Right? That just opens up your activity to do other things, help more clients, maybe build your team, whatever it may be. But just know that when it comes to dialing, I wish there was like an easy way around it, but there's not. Right? You got to do the work to get to where you need to go, but then once you learn it, it doesn't hurt anymore. That's how I put it. Dialing hurts. It does. But once you learn it and you can start getting exactly or expecting exactly what you put in, right? I know if I dial for this long, I'm going to get this many appointments. That's going to give me this many shows. That's going to give me the APV that I need to hit. Okay. Now once you have that in your back pocket, that's powerful, guys, because then you start to determine what you can do because you have a set thing in place. That's why the phones, once you master them statistically, is the best thing for your business, because then you know you can check mark that. It's no longer a guessing game, which is what a lot of people come on here and do. They'll come on here and they'll say, hey, I've been dialing for 10 hours. I'm not getting anywhere. That's because you're still learning. If you're not getting anywhere, it's not the leads. It's not anything else other than you still learning. And at that point, you need to talk to your upline and find out what's going on your phone call so you can be better. If you don't get any insight, or you're not asking what's happening on your calls, how are you going to change? Like remember, if you decide to change the things on your own without going to the people that have already mastered this, it's almost like the blind leading the blind. I'll give you an example. A new agent comes on, starts dialing. They're getting hung up on left and right. They don't know why. Instead of reaching out and finding out why, they decide they need to shorten the script, because that obviously must be the problem. And now they shorten the script, and now they're getting people to make appointments, but no one's showing. Why? Well, because you shortened the script, silly, right? That's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of stuff that you can't go changing things to make it your way. It just doesn't work that way. I wish it did. If it did, your upline would say, here's a script, do something like it, off you go. All right. They're not doing it that way, because that's how people struggle. That's how they get frustrated. That's when you feel like you're spinning your wheels and you're doing everything you can to get it right. And for some reason, it's just not working for you. You got to go back to basics. And that includes talking to your upline and finding out why. Second thing is recorded phone calls. Guys, if you are not recording your phone calls for training purposes, you're doing it wrong. Okay? The quickest way for you to learn on the phone, which I promise, that's what you guys want. You guys want to learn and go through this learning curve on the phone as quick as possible. You do. Because I'm telling you, the phone hurts. I've said that 3 times and I mean it. And I've been doing it for 15 years. It hurts. Okay. But it doesn't hurt once you know what you're doing. That's the other thing I keep saying. So record your phone calls. Don't worry about the constructive criticism that's there to help you. I promise you. But you need your uplines to hear what's going on so they can pinpoint it to you so you can make those changes and see something right away. There's a lot of people, I don't see any in here right now, but there's a lot of people that I meet with that are just so frustrated. They are so frustrated with dialing. And after we do a one-on-one, either phone training or phone listening, we'll point out certain things that they'll go, oh my gosh, that makes sense. Because we'll talk about the psychology, right? That makes sense. I never thought of it that way. And instantly they start seeing a change in their phone calls, not because we made a change, but because they all of a sudden feel like they have control again. That's what it is. If you can't pinpoint what's going on your phone calls, then you feel like you have no control. And if you feel like you have no control, then you feel like you can't set an appointment, and like it's not up to you. It's up to the leads as to whether you do that. And I'll be the first to tell you it's totally up to you. I'll never blame a lead. I don't care about a lead. There's too many of them. I only care about you. That's what I tell my staff, my call center. I go, I don't care what these leads say to you. Circumstance doesn't matter to me. I don't care if you made a mistake on the phone call. It doesn't matter because you are the only one that matters to me. If you are doing the same thing on every single phone call, regardless of the person you're talking to, then you're doing it right. I'll say that again, and that's important. If you are doing the same thing on every single phone call, no matter who the person you're talking to, in other words, you're not changing the script, you're not changing how you approach things based on the person trying to rush you, you're not changing anything based on the person you're talking to. Okay. If you are not sounding the same on every single phone call, that's your first problem. You treat every single phone call the exact same way, no matter what. And that is how the script gets the results for you and not the other way around. Okay. It's when we start changing it based on the person we're talking to, that's when your statistics start to get wonky. If you're not consistent, your stats won't be consistent, period. Okay. So that's a really big one. You're going to get circumstances, but this person said this. I don't care. And I mean that with all the love in the world. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me because I'm going to treat every single person the exact same way. For those that would jump on and listen to Jody dialing, and we're going to listen to a couple of her phone calls right now. For those that would jump on with Jody's dialing, you'll hear that she sounds the same on every phone call, every single one. She books them the same way. She goes through the same thing, even if they try to take her off a script. Because that's the thing, we're on script and these people aren't, right? That's the hard part. So even if they take you off a script, your goal is to comment on whatever they're saying and get right back to script. Because that script is what's going to get you the consistent results that you need so you can work this numbers game backwards. Okay. How did you manage that in the beginning? What do you mean by that? You can unmute. What do you mean by that?
Hey, Natasha. So meaning like not allowing the call or what the potential client says to throw you off, because I don't know if I'm there now, but I've been there, and so like just to be like the very exact same with every call, like was this something you were born with, or did you have things that got you to that place?
Things got me to that place. I was not born. This is not Maybelline. Definitely not born with it. No, no, no. So the answer is, this is going to sound really rough. As human beings, we try to put ourselves in their shoes. Okay. And I'm letting you know that when it comes to phone work, that's the only time you shouldn't do that. You don't do that. We don't like should statements here, but like you don't want to do that. Okay. And the reason why is because then we start to feel for them. See, here's the thing. 80% of the people that you talk to are going to tell you no. 80%. Which means the moment someone starts giving you an excuse or a reason or why this doesn't appeal to them, you start to relate to them. Because guess what you're expecting as a human being? 80%, right? instead of just, sometimes it sounds like talking over them. Sometimes it sounds like we're not listening to them. That's what we tend to do. We're so afraid that we're going to like lose them in some way, or if we don't comment on what they're saying, you know, it seems like we're being rude. Guys, forget about all of that. It doesn't matter what you sound like on your first phone call. And I'm not saying you need to sound rude. I am saying you have a purpose. And because you have a purpose, which is to get to the end of the script without skipping anything, sometimes it's going to sound like you're being rude in your head, but not theirs. Right. And what I mean by that is they'll ask you a question like, well, I don't think I can afford this. And instead of just giving them the quick rebuttal and moving on, you want to start selling them as to why they can't afford this. And that's not the job during the first script. That's what I mean by that. Right? You treat everyone the same as when someone says, well, how much does it cost? You're going to give the same rebuttal to that person as you would give to the person that says, well, I don't think I can afford this. Same rebuttal. It's going to get the right person to move forward. We start to change that per circumstance. And that's where we start to kind of not allow the script to get the results that we need. Kevin, I saw you. Where'd you go? Come back. Talk to me, buddy.
Yeah, no, I just want to make one comment about this. A simple analogy that in Durgan's pages, Mastering the General Life Scripts, there was Page, Grant, and I don't recall the other young guy's name. But he made an analogy that if you have like a pole or a pencil, and as you're going down the script, people try to pull you off of it. And if you get pulled off of it, you're just going to lose it, right? And he just keeps saying, think about it as a pencil or a pole. You know, respond to the objections and get right back to the script and just go right down it and leave the emotion and all of that out of it. To your point, I just want to throw that in. That's all. Hopefully it helps.
I love that you did though. Listen, those breakout sessions are amazing. And Ashton, I believe it was Ashton that was with them.
Ashton, yeah, that was one of the best ones I saw. It was really, really, really informative and came away with this great script. It was really awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure. And listen, the fact, I mean, that's true. These scripts are there for a reason. They're not there to be skipped. But I always tell people, and it's so Gino, that's it. Thank you, Paige. But yeah, it's the same thing where it's like, listen, if you skip the script, you take away, it's like revving up that engine, right? You're revving up the engine to go up to 60 miles per hour. That's when your momentum comes. And we all know that when momentum starts, that's when you start getting those results just flying at you. The moment you skip that script, you're literally letting your feet off that gas. It's gone. You got to rev all the way back up again, which means your client on the phone's got to rev up with you. Right? Remember, you're the ones taking them on this ride, guys. You guys are doing it. So if you veer off or you choose not to continue, or you start talking about things that have nothing to do with your purpose during the phone side, then all you're doing is hurting your client, because now the client's going all over the place. You're the one leading them. Right? So I love that. I think that that analogy is a fantastic analogy. I think it's wonderful. And honestly, that general life script, I'm glad you guys walked away with a script to it, because there's so many out there, and it's good to know that it came from people that are doing well with it. You know what I mean? So right on.
Yeah. I think just look at it like a visual, just use that as a visual. People start pulling you off, come back to the pole, right? In a way. So that's all. Yeah.
And guys, go right back to where you left off. That's the other thing. Everyone wants to skip and move forward and something like that. And that goes along with kind of making it sound like you're not listening to them, but you are. Okay. Remember, you're the one controlling the phone call. So if they start talking about something else and you have to pull them back, that's how that works. It's not their phone call, it's yours. All right. Whoever's asking the most questions or doing the most talking is the one that owns that phone call. So you need to gain it back so you can get to the point. Control is a really big thing. On to the next point. Okay. Start with P5s, do that. All right. So any questions on leads? Knowing how to work the numbers backwards, right? Knowing what percentage you're looking for your contact ratio, how to purchase leads, how many leads to purchase to get the APV that you are looking for. Again, everybody's got different goals here. Okay. Some people want to make $5 grand a month. Some people want to make $2 grand a month. Some people want to make 20 grand a month. You can do all of it here. Okay. It's up to you on what you want to make. So you got to know what that is to determine how many leads you're going to purchase. And then once you work the numbers backwards, you can hit to where you need to go. Okay. So any questions on that, pop them in there. In the meantime, I'll pull up some phone calls from Jody and we'll listen. We'll listen to a couple phone calls. How's that sound? Everyone's like, I'm here for it. So while I'm pulling this up, there was a bunch of you guys that I spoke to during conference, and I told you guys that I will be starting a room that's gonna have, it's a dial room, right? So if you guys are part of the dial room the Friday before, in fact, do me a favor, since I can't see anybody here, pop in chat if you stopped by that dial room at all the Friday before conference. I know I was dialing, Lindsay was dialing, there was a couple of us dialing there, Miles was dialing. Yeah, hi Terry. I see you. Awesome meeting you at conference. So we're gonna have more of those rooms, okay? And not only am I gonna be dialing, because I don't really dial much anymore, I run a call center doing it, but I do want to do some dialing so people can, because everyone wants to hear what they do. My goal in running these rooms is to have massive amount of people dialing in there, not just for feedback, but also to hear other people dial, right? That's what I want. And the feedback, instead of it doing face to face, which we could totally do, is going to be messages on the side. So when other people hear you dialing, they can get feedback on it also. And that's an open thing, right? It's a lot of fun dialing when you're dialing with other people. I don't know if anyone's done it in a room yet, but when you're solo dialing, man, those thoughts in your mind can really beat you up. And it's nice to be with someone that if you are hitting those no's that you're supposed to hit, someone behind you is going, I know that hurt, but you're only at 4. Don't worry, you got this. It really does make a huge difference. So I'm going to be opening those up starting next week. And that way, when you guys pop in, you'll see that it'd be consistently every week, but that way you can hear other people dial. Sarah, is there a certain script everyone uses for that? For the dialing room? Oh, it's your script. It doesn't matter. Whatever script you want. There is no right script. Whatever script your upline gave you is the correct script. That's why when I teach people through here, I don't teach via scripts because I don't think scripts make the call. I think psychology makes the call, and I think the dialer makes the call. There's a couple things on every phone call that everyone has. Like every upline wants you to sound confident. Every upline doesn't want you to speed, and every upline wants to make sure you lock it down in some kind of way so you can get those show factors. So no, Sarah, it doesn't matter what script it is. You can use any script you want. Psychology is still psychology, which is really cool. Ooh, I love that book, by the way. Go for No, great book. That's why I'm telling you, for those that have a hard time dialing, divide your dials per APV or your commission made and start paying yourself every time you pick up the phone. I'm telling you right now that is such a cool way of doing it, because the more you dial, the more money you make. And that way, instead of getting no's, you're like, whatever, they told me no, that's another dollar in my pocket. Okay. It's such a cool thing for the mindset when you're dialing. Oh, yes. I'm glad you asked that, Terry. How does the dial room work? So listen, this is why I don't like dialing in the dialing room. My purpose in being in the dialing room is muting the people who is not on a phone call. So luckily I've been in a way where I can sit in a room and listen to 20 people dial and hear them all dial. Zoom doesn't allow for that. But what Zoom does allow is when someone starts talking, I can mute everybody else so we can hear that one person talk. Then we'll type in the chat so you can, everyone gets the results to it, and it opens back up the room, and we basically just do it as we hear random people talk. That also means we may not hear you on a phone call. You may get a phone call and someone else is already being listened to. That's why when you join us, these dialing rooms are going to be hours long. It's not just going to be 2 hours long. We're going to be in there for like 5. Okay. So the more you come in there and dial, trust me, how cool would it be to get one-on-one corrections as you're dialing? Hey, what if you do this next phone call and you start getting appointments? There are many people that jump in these dial rooms and have more success dialing because of the energy of other people than if they did it themselves. So I'm always one that says, hey, come in and do it, give it a shot. And please be one of the ones that dials. I promise you, you get more out of it when other people can hear you. So don't be afraid or hesitate. Everyone's done it. We all sound great, and we always point out the wonderful things you're doing first. Okay. Okay, so let me go over here to Jody. Who dialed last week for conference? Did anyone have any production last week? Put it in chat if you did. You can always listen at first, by the way, Sarah. No one's going to make you unmute, I promise. Yes, yes, I love it. Yes, look at it. Yeah. Perfect. So I always tell you guys, my voice is going. It's from all the yelling at conference, you know. Mhm. Okay. I always tell you guys, when you listen to people, what do I always say? Ask for their statistics. Okay. Always. That way, you know, the person you're listening to is someone, because it's, again, if you know they're doing great, then obviously you don't have to ask for their stats. Like if I listen to Paige Dialing, I'm not going to ask her for her stats. I know she does great, right? But if it's someone new that you've never heard before, ask them what they're doing, what their stats are. Make sure you're learning from someone who's doing really well. Everyone has something to learn. Okay. And I'm a firm believer that sometimes the blind lead the blind can hurt. And so just ask them casually, hey, how many appointments, how many show? Just tell me a little bit about your stats. Make sure those are the stats that you're looking to hit as well. Okay. So before we listen to a phone call from Jody, we're going to look up her stats last week. Here we go. I have to wait for that. I love those who dial. And the reason why I'm showing is because, guys, anyone that thought they couldn't dial because of conference, come on now. There is always a way to do it and maximize. And here we go. That's this week. And it doesn't take much, right? We all know it doesn't take much. Hold on. Here we go. Boom. There we go. So Jody set 9 appointments for the week. 6 showed, 5 were sales. So 66% show factor and about 9,600 APV, all in 2 days. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. If you ever feel like you have no time to dial, you don't need much time. You just have to have the consistently and the focus to sit down and make sure you dial to hit the numbers you need to hit. Okay, if you can sit there and get 6 showed in a period of 2 days, imagine what you can do an entire week, right? So this is where Jody was last week, which means Jody did phenomenal, as always. Love the Jody. So we're going to pull up one of her phone calls and we're going to listen to it. For anyone who knows me on here, I should probably share sound. If anyone knows me on here, then you guys know that when I pick these, I do it randomly, because that is how you know how someone is truly, truly dialing. Okay. I will do a random phone call and I love it because I'll speak to someone that says, man, I never do that. You picked the one phone call that I caught you. That's because the universe wanted me to. Just remember that. Okay. Or you've done it a couple times and I might have just called one. All right. It doesn't matter why you do it. It doesn't matter how many times you do it. All I know is that we can learn from every single time you do. Okay. So here we go. Look, she's already dialing today. Shall we listen to this one? 6 minutes and 50 seconds. It looks like an appointment. I don't know if it's an appointment. You guys ready? We're going to find out together. Here we go.
Hello? Hello, may I please speak to Deja? Yeah, that's me. Hi, Deja. This is Jody Stone. I'm calling this afternoon in regard to the mortgage that you took out with your lender for your home at 9430 Avenue. When you took that out, you had filled out a form and requested information on this mortgage protection insurance policy. That, yes, ma'am. So I was just calling to make sure the information that you initially provided is correct. I do show on the form you indicated you are 24 years old and a non-smoker. Is that correct? Yep. And I do also show the mortgage was in the amount of $333,891. Is that a 15 or a 30-year term? I believe 30. And roughly how much do you monthly on that? Either with or without escrow is fine.
On that I pay $2,127.82 a month.
Okay. And goodness forbid, if you were to pass away, who would be the beneficiary of the home?
We don't know that right now.
Well, I should say that's okay. We'll leave that part blank. It's not necessary. And goodness, and let me see here. Now, is there a spouse or significant other for you?
No.
Okay, so you're single. And in the last 10 years, have you had any major or minor health issues, for example, high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart problems?
Nope.
Are you currently taking any prescription medications for anything?
I was birth control.
Okay. Any forms of cancer or surgeries for you in the last 10 years?
Any what? I'm sorry.
Any forms of cancer for you in the last 10 years?
No.
And lastly, I need to get your height and weight.
What's that for again?
The height and weight goes along with the medical, just like when you go to the doctor and they weigh you and get your height.
Mhm.
So are you asking why I'm asking the medical questions?
Yeah, just like why do you need to know
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I told you. So this is in regard to the mortgage protection insurance quotes that you had inquired about.
that?
It does do a couple of different things. So goodness forbid if you were to pass away, the home would be paid for in full, go to your designated beneficiary. The second thing it does is, goodness forbid, if you became disabled, if you were injured, if you lost your income, it would make the monthly mortgage payment on the home with the lost income so that you do not end up losing the home.
Okay, so it's just like a health questionnaire kind of thing to gauge how healthy I am.
Yes, so we're almost done. The only thing left on the help is I need to get your height and weight.
Okay. I'm 5'4" and like 150.
Okay. All right. So, Deja, that's all the information that we needed to update on the form. So, once I get it over to our broker, Miss Ashley Richard, she will get busy contacting the over 50 different carriers. She will narrow that down to the top 3 best quotes for you.
Okay.
Now, yes, ma'am. Now, before this coronavirus hit, we used to have to meet with you personally to verify your insurability and provide the quotes to you that way, but we do want to keep you and everyone safe, so we now meet entirely virtually. This will be via telephone appointment, and it is just like what we're doing now, talking on the phone. Also, when
Okay, let's stop there. So remember, I always stop, and just as a reminder for anyone joining the training, all the way up until this part of the script determines your book percentage. Okay, this determines whether or not these people are going to schedule with you. That's why I'm saying if you feel like you're talking to a lot of people and you're not scheduling them, something is going on between the beginning of the script up to this part right here. Either you're taking too long on your medical questions, you're not able to get through the first paragraph very well, you're studying or stuttering through it, don't know your rebuttals. There's something going on there for you to look at. Anything that happens from the appointment progression on has to do with your show factor. So if you're having a hard time with show factor, it will be this next part of the phone call that we'll listen to. Okay. All right. So to talk about this, first of all, Joshua just pointed something out. Josh did, and I loved it. He goes, and if you saw in the chat, he goes, man, look at that. On the 3rd ring, she answered. Isn't that funny? Yeah, guys, that's why that triple dial works. Okay. So please don't hesitate to use it. It doesn't work if you don't do it 100% of the time. If you pick and choose when you're doing it, all you're doing is shooting yourself in the foot. Don't do it. Shoot, go
Natasha,
for it.
I was gonna say most people don't realize technologically wise. If my phone's on do not disturb, unless they're in my favorites, at the 3rd ring it'll go through. It doesn't mean their phone. It doesn't mean it automatically goes to voicemail if my phone's on do not disturb. If at the 3rd ring it's an unknown number, then it finally will go through. That's just
You
in the
make a
phone's
good
feature.
point.
It's
You
in the
make a
phone.
good point. You said something and it's key. I get that question. Well, I called and it went straight to voicemail. Their phone must be off. Guys, that's why we triple dial. That it's not when it rings and they don't answer. It's if they do not answer no matter what. I don't care if it's busy. I don't care if it's busy every time you call. My whole thing is I'm going to still dial it triple times because why not? Statistics tell me that's what I'm supposed to do. I did not know that, by the way. Josh, you rock for knowing that. That's super cool to know. I'll make sure to tell people and let them know it came from you for sure. Had no idea. See? Triple dial. That's the way to go. Okay. And that's exactly what happened here. You see how that's a minute or sorry, a second, 2 seconds. Chances are it went straight to voicemail. And that is why she continued to dial no matter what. The next thing Paige put in here, and Paige is completely correct on this. Guys, you notice how every time she had an issue, Jody just commented on it and kept going, right? Guys, that's huge. Every time someone asks a question, we tend to get like, they don't want to book with us. It's almost like we create the result for them, like I said, in our head. So this person's like, why are you asking the medical? How many, and say this to yourself here, you know you, how many times have you heard that and your instant thought was, they're not interested? Right? Guys, it's a question. The question is, why am I asking all these questions? And Jody's like, oh, no big deal. If you don't make it a big deal, they won't make it a big deal. Very simple. And it doesn't matter what you tell them. Oh, it's part of the things I need. It really doesn't. As long as you comment on it and keep going like it ain't no thing, like a chicken wing. Okay? I mean that. You got to keep going, and you got to make it sound like you do this all the time, because you do. But that way they don't think you're not asking anything weird. The moment you start to feel like they are not interested, we start to over talk, is what we do. All of a sudden, we're trying to sell them on something when we don't even need to do that. All we need to do is answer their question and keep moving. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill. Okay. And the third thing I want to point out is the spouse. Guys, you heard that, right? She said beneficiary. I have no idea. Guess what? They don't need to know who the beneficiary is on this phone call. Don't make a big deal about it. Say no problem. Keep moving. But what she did do is ask about spouse, right? The worst thing in the world is for you to take that as they are single. You keep moving, you schedule the appointment, and you find out they have a spouse, and now they got to think about it. Okay. Cut that in half. Let's get to the point. Just ask if they have a spouse or significant other. Find out if they do. Get them both there together. No big thing like a chicken wing. Okay. Okay. All right. Any questions on that before we listen to the meat and potatoes part? Chris Crosby, how long does it take between the 2 to 3 dials? It doesn't. It's super quick. Okay. You want their phone to ring back to back. You want them to say, who is this? That's how they're going to answer. Okay. So as soon as you're done ringing, you call right back and you keep it going. I love how you put that as however long it takes to press call again. Fair. All right. Okay. Here we go. Here's the rest of it. Let's see if she schedules her.
Ashley calls, she will only have about 15 minutes to spend with you, and this is due to the influx of applications that we've been receiving. Right now, I am scheduling appointments for tomorrow. So typically, would tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow evening work better for you?
Let me think. Probably evening.
Okay, let me get her schedule pulled up and see what she's got available. Typically, what time do you usually get home from work, Deja?
Oh, I work nights, but I'm not working tomorrow.
Oh, you're off tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah.
Evening, she is super busy, but we can get you squeezed in. She has a 7 o'clock or an 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
7 o'clock works.
Okay. On the 7, I got you all set and reserved. However, that is our last spot. Are you sure that's a good definite time for you?
Yep.
I need you to grab a pen and paper. I'm going to give you some information. Just let me know whenever you're ready.
One sec.
Listen to that patience.
Okay. Okay, so if you have not already, go ahead and write down that date and time. Tomorrow is Tuesday, August the 15th. You are good to go to hear the quotes at 7 o'clock p.m. Your broker's full name is Ashley Richard. That's Ashley. Her last name Richard. And your confirmation reference number, this number just goes along with all the work and research that we do. That number is 107-422-1.
What was the last two numbers?
The last three?
Yeah, you said 107-422.
771.
Okay.
All right. All right. Well, you are all set. Ashley will have those options and quotes for you, and this way you can have them for your records. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. You have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, so now I want you guys to put in chat for me, okay? Jessica, I'm happy to send you that recording. Let me download it right now for you. Okay. Okay. I want you to put in chat for me, name something that stood out to you in that phone call you just heard, even if it's towards the end. Name one thing that stood out to you that you're like, huh, that was pretty cool. Or, huh, something wasn't right about that. I don't know, whatever it was, throw it in there. Okay. I'll share it here. Is it gonna let me? Is it gonna let me? Yeah, give me 2 seconds and I'll share it here. Not getting rattled with the height. What? Yeah, I love that one. The height. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the call, and then we will talk about some of the things you said on there, and then we'll call it wraps. Okay. She offered tomorrow afternoon and evening, and that's because, just so you know, Ashley has no appointments available today. She is off today. She homeschools her boys in like a group setting today. Okay. So tomorrow is when she's booking, but guess what? We don't book outside of today or tomorrow. That doesn't change ever because it's going to affect your show factor. Okay. So what she did do is she offered tomorrow afternoon and evening, which still gives the choice that we want to give. Okay. Now I'll tell you a secret. Ashley only has 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock available tomorrow for Arizona time. So even if this person said afternoons, and even if she asked what time they got home from work and they said 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't care. The next time I'm going to have available is 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock, no matter what. Okay. And that's because our schedule will always be more important than theirs, always. And that is what, as Josh said it, that is what busy people want to work with busy people. That does not change no matter what. Okay. So she was stuck. That's on every phone call, guys. She does that routine on every phone call. That is why her show factor is so sick. She sounds the same on every one. And the longer you attend these trainings, you'll see that. She does not change it no matter what. Okay. She sat there. She found out what time they get home from work. She offered times. They accepted 7 o'clock. Then she locked it down. People always want to miss that lock it down. Don't do it. It's going to lower your statistics on show factor. Remember, if you do everything 100% correctly, you are still only expected to get a 50 to 60% show factor, which is still pretty cool if you do it every week. Okay. It's when you start changing it or shortcutting it or doing any of those things that your show factor goes under 50%. Not so cool to have every single week. So our goal is for you to get consistent with it. And that's how she did it. If I were to give her critique, it would be while she was having her write down the information. Way too fast. Way too fast. Guys, every time you ask them to write something down, you want them to say okay. Because there's 2 things you don't want to happen. One, you don't want them to feel rushed. Guys, that's not a very warm and fuzzy feeling for them to show up to your next appointment, right? You don't want them to feel rushed, and you want to make sure that they're writing it down. Okay, this is how you can pinpoint the relators who may not be writing it down. They may just be relating with you and saying, and you wonder why they don't show. Well, that's because you spoke too fast and they didn't write everything down. So they didn't feel special enough. Everyone wants to feel special. Okay, so that would be the critique I would give to her at the very end of that is, hey, slow it down a little bit. I know she sounded on it, but slow it down. Okay, some of the cool things on the right here. Fully engaged, ask for the number. Yes. If you rush, so will they. Josh, my favorite one. Gosh, yes. My favorite's when they say, hey, can you get to the point? I'm busy. Yeah, I'm pretty busy here too. And then I go slower.
Mhm.
Yeah, crazy, right? That's how much I don't. It's not their rodeo, it's mine. And there's a reason for that, right? Like if they think they're in charge, they don't know anything about insurance. That's not how you want to start your presentation, right? So what we're doing is the phone is getting the right people to sit in front of you so you have a higher chance of them closing and showing. That's how that's supposed to work, which means you're not supposed to book everybody, guys. Not everyone's supposed to be booked. Okay, so that means no, you don't rush for that one guy, because if you do, tell me how prepared that guy is during your appointment. He's going to expect you to rush during then too, right? So don't bother. Those appointments aren't even worth the time, right? Yes, if you rush, they will rush. I love that. Case number, don't forget about that case number. That conference number is a beautiful touch. I love it. Low and slow flow of the call. Her confidence, yes. Her confidence. You know why she's so confident? Because she follows a script. Swear to you. Watch and see how confident you are trying to come up with a rebuttal on the fly on your own. For some reason, it doesn't sound as good. It just never does. So follow your script. That's why she sounds so confident. She was really busy but slow and not rushed. True. She didn't get rattled with the height and weight question. Like I said, guys, if they're not interested, they're going to hang up on you. That's a simple thing. If they're on the phone with you, they want to know what you have to say. Don't be afraid of their questions. Their questions show interest, which means that's a really good candidate for you. Okay. Even tone, slow and patient, her deflection. Where do I get the case number? Terry, you make one up, my love. You make one up, they'll never know. Okay. Make sure it's 6 digits long so you can have them read it back if you don't think they're paying attention to you. I'm working awesome. So am I. Yes, I agree. Guys, I love it. That was beautiful. Let me get this phone call going to pop in here. So those who want it, please stay on. I will throw it in the chat so you can have it. I will have to do it in a link because for some reason it's not allowing me to actually post a file. My Zoom does, but this one doesn't, which I'm happy to sit there and put up for you guys. So I'm cool with that.
It's because you're in a breakout room.
Is that why?
You're in a breakout room and you're not the main person hosting, so it's technological in the background.
Well, I'm going to pull it up right now. I'm just going to create a quick little file upload because I already have it, and then I can pop it in here for you guys so you guys can have it. I'm going to be playing more, guys. Listen, even during these training rooms, these dialing rooms that we'll be doing, if no one's dialing, I'm going to be playing recorded phone calls. So you're always going to hear something going on. We're always going to be critiquing. But the biggest thing I want you to notice on every single one of these phone calls is how they are the same every single time. It doesn't matter what the client says, it's that we are the same on every single phone call. That is how we get consistent stats. So that's what I want you guys to notice on every phone call you listen to. Okay. All right. That being said, as soon as this is done, I will upload it. Whatever.